go right into it. Okay, I think we've got it. And we are up. We're live.
Live, here we go. Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome again. Dr. Misak here, Pittsburgh Alternative Health, Vitalometry in the back. Got the new poster going up. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope people are starting to sign on and starting to look at life a little different perspective. You know, there's a lot going on, as well as how we always love to start is I pull out the Bible app, which I love it. So the tendency of it to just fit the day. But why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise him, my Savior and my God, from Psalm 42:11. I mean, I was thinking today with Andy, I'm like, what the heck did we talk about, Andy? Did we come up with anything per se?
Not per se, no. We more just got into all the chaos that's going on, and that was where we left it.
I think one of the things is there has been a precedent set in Denmark that can be a little upsetting in one regard is just getting rid of choice.
Gosh.
Denmark has gone with mandatory vaccinations. Interesting. I don't disagree with vaccines. I just think that you should have a choice in the matter. But anyway, we want to just talk today about normal. You know, what is normal and what's going to be normal, or is there ever going to be normal again, or what has been normal? And there's just a lot to, to digest when you're trying to think of those type of things. I'm going to try to log on here, Annie, and just pull up the YouTube so I can see the chat and see what's going on.
Okay.
And just say hello to anybody.
Want me to bring you my phone? I've got it.
Yeah, I got mine. I just got to turn my volume down because I always get feedback.
Yeah, same. Okay.
Oops. Let me get that going. So it's hard to turn around and sit there and when we, going shopping and seeing, everybody wearing masks and the social aspects of people who are, it's like, don't talk to me. You might get me infected. Who are you? How dare you say something to me? Don't touch that. I dropped it. I'll pick it up myself. If you touch it, I might get something. I mean, it's really, there's some extremes I think going on. And I just, you wonder how we're supposed to respond to this. There's been a innate fear of what's going to happen with me. Am I going to get this from somebody else? Are you infected? Or it's just the mindset that's gone into this is just crazy. So let me see what we have. Marty D, good morning. Just Lee, good morning. TJ Ping, Red Label, Jackie, good morning, good morning, good morning. We've already got 17 people on, and I always appreciate you guys. Throw some questions at me today. I'm working right now on bringing some presentation to you. I'm working on Annie's done this great graphic that gives us a understanding healing and restoration that we're going to share soon. I've been working on creating menu plans for the BC diet and the DE diet. Probably the hardest thing that I've ever done because...
And guess what? We've made progress. Oh, gosh. It's like pulling teeth. Just kidding. It's hard to get him to focus.
You don't believe her.
It's all good.
It is hard. I'm going to tell you, people, being a pharmacist and then originally planning to go to Bastyr University, whose real focus was the science behind natural medicine. And that's where Michael Murray and Pizzorno and that book, Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine, and everything was like a cookbook all about what to take. If you go and look at a lot of the naturopathic information that's out there, nowhere do they teach you, or very little do they teach you what to eat. And so I'm going to be honest, food science is difficult for me. I go through and now I'm, trying to learn some foods and learn which ones are mostly in the BC and which ones are in the DE and what are the prominent calciums and how you would choose meals based upon your chemistry range, where I could sit there and say, here's a tool, you could do it. But for me to go back and figure it all out again is difficult for me. It's something that just wasn't taught. And so, and I just, I got to digest information, and then I can pretty much, I don't know how I regurgitate it, but it just stays in there. So learning all these things, like, broccoli on the DE diet and versus, using the carrots and some of the other things that you would think, for the BC diet. And, what do I choose as my vegetable sources, that are best for me, that have those prominent calciums in them. And it's not that you can never eat the other foods. It's like, if you're looking at those prominent calcium lists, it's not that you turn around and say, hey, I'm on the DE diet, so I could never eat artichokes because they're on the BC. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, you can eat these foods. You just want to find a ratio of saying, hey, I'm going to focus in on these foods because they're more appropriate for where I am. I'm going to focus in on certain ones, crooked neck squash and mangoes and moringa and some of these things that have multiple calciums in them, so that you're getting those various calcium sources every day. And just, coming up with a food plan and a diary for a month, that's a challenge, and it is for me. And so sitting there, I'm like, okay, so what are we going to eat, and how are we going to do this so that you're not cooking something fresh in every day? And like, oh, well, we have all those leftovers. Like, you got to cook your leftovers, and how can we incorporate that into the next day meal or as a side dish or whatever, and just taking those type of things into consideration. And so having Annie on this is really thumbs up, people. She's
I'm really glad I'm helpful.
So happy about it. And so creating some graphics. Annie's been working on graphics to give visual representations of these concepts and to help. It's invaluable. It's really, we're trying to get this editing aspect where we can take the book where the book is written, but give it some visual appeal that that helps you to understand these concepts from just a visual standpoint. I mean, I can't say it any other way.
Well, everyone that comes into your office and sees you for the first time, it's like you just blow their brains out. I mean, geez, it's like everything I've done or known my whole life is wrong. What? So it's a lot to digest, and I think really pinpointing on a few things will help people not, spiral whenever they come see you, because I know I did. I walked out of your office and I got in my car and I was like, what am I doing? Like, but now that I've known you for 3 years now, I'm able to, I think communicate that a little bit better. I hope so anyways.
So we need to have less than a 3-year timeline for people to turn around and be able to how to navigate through this information. There's a lot of information, people. I've been working on the handouts to break down the foods into BC versus DE. I've been working on how to look at, historically, one of the things that always bothered me, although, Reams gave the aspects of why you consume your calories mostly in the afternoon, more, breakfast for a queen, lunch for a king, dinner for a pauper. There was a reason for that, something to get you up and going, quick energy in the morning, get going. And that's where the breakfast for the queen, incorporate those fruits and some of those carbohydrates. And, he didn't care if you put a little bit of maple syrup on your oatmeal or something to that effect, but lunch for a king to have those calories to compensate and get you through the rest of your day. And in reality, that dinner for a pauper can be intermittent fasting. Some people can get by with 2 meals a day, really, but in reality, what Reams typically would have people do with looking at the old diets was vegetable soup, onion soup, maybe a small salad at night, something small and insignificant. So how do you quantify that? So I've turned around and said, okay, how about 30% of your calories in the morning, 50% at lunch, and 20% in the evening? Makes sense? When you're looking at, how do I break these down to quantify? Well, what does that mean? How many calories am I supposed to eat? Good question. How do you calculate that? There's an equation for calculating your metabolic rate, putting in your height, your weight, turning it over and giving you an idea of like, okay, this is how many calories that I should eat. Okay, great. How do I know how many calories are in the food that I'm eating? Well, fat gives you more per gram versus protein versus carbohydrate. 9.4 kilocalories per gram of fat, 4.3 for protein, 3.4 for carbohydrate. But to calculate that out, when you're looking at people based upon metabolic types, hey, of that slow oxidizer that's in the BC range, you're hitting 50 to 60% carbohydrate. You're hitting 15 to 20% fat, and then maybe 20 to 30% protein. So you're eating carbs does not mean that you're eating rice and a bowl of sugar, people. It's looking at the quality of carbs. And so then we look at low glycemic vegetables. And I'm like, eat all you want. There's 25 calories per gram of serving. You can chow down actually 25 calories per. I don't remember the serving size of the low glycemics. I think it was like a half a cup. But there's next to no calories. Green beans, people eat them all. Eat all you want. And so because most people will get sick of eating or too full before they get calories that are overwhelming. So then you say, okay, how many calories do I know? You calculate your basal metabolic rate. Then you determine, hey, am I an active person or am I a couch potato? So am I burning those calories or am I sitting on them? Do I want to gain weight? Do I want to lose weight? So Reams reported calories as heat forming units. And the more that you eat, you're forming energy, heat forming units. And as your body can't utilize that energy, it's going to store it. Triglyceride conversion and fat storage versus, hey, staying under that calorie threshold, then you are actually going to be burning off excess calories that you've stored. So if you stay 500 to 1,000, 1,000 calorie deficit with energy per day, you're going to lose a couple pounds a week, easy. So what we've done is something that's never been done in the RBTI world. And I want to release all this information and I want to put it in some nice, pretty presentation for you and show it on a show. But then you're going to be like, why do I need to go to a retreat? Because you just showed me everything. So we're going to tease you. We're going to give you the information that you need, show you how it's done. People who are now buying testing equipment, I'm just, as I make up these handouts, I'm just including the newest handouts. So a couple people have bought testing equipment lately, and they got the updated handouts on it. And I just say, hey, it is kind of proprietary information, and that's why we sell it as a kit. You could test yourself at home. You can know and learn what you are to eat is what it comes down to. And what I'm trying to do is give you a way to calculate that out. So let's see what we got here on the chat this morning. Doc Misak says, good morning, all. Hey, I didn't know that I did that. Thank you, Manny. Good morning. Jackie, Red Label, TJ, SB, insanity. You want to talk insanity? Oh, God, yeah. We're talking, I just think, we can always go by the numbers. Yeah, in America, we're crazy. It's amazing. We're already over 1.2 million cases in America. But what are we? 350 million Americans. So what does that equate down to? Less than 0.5% chance of getting this virus, at least currently with current statistics. And then out of that, what percentage of those people are getting better? 99%.
Weird.
Do the numbers.
I just can't handle it. Oh my God.
I can't either. I can't, but then again, there's some validity to it. It's a nasty virus. There are people who are dying from this, and every life is worth it. The interesting thing is, where we have doctors claiming that they're being told that if somebody dies of something respiratory and they don't even know that it was COVID, to mark it as COVID.
Oh yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Well,
there was an aspect,
funding for your hospital, right?
Right. Well, Medicare was paying $13,000 for people that were being diagnosed with COVID, and they were paying $39,000 out to hospitals if they were putting them on ventilators, which has now been shown to be a death sentence.
Oh my God.
You're not supposed to ventilate these people according to what's turning out. And why would our government turn around? I don't want to go into it.
That's how I feel. My Facebook is filled with, sign this anti-vaccine or not, well, just pro-choice vaccine petitions and all of these arguments and things coming up about vaccines. And, it doesn't really matter where you shake down on the vaccine argument at all. You can think they're the greatest thing in the world or not, but you should get a choice. It doesn't, I'm stuttering because it just doesn't make sense that we're having a choice argument in our country.
Well, if you look up medical ethics, I think it's medical ethics code in the medical ethics code. I think it's like 8.01 or something like that. Is your informed choice and right to decline therapy? They're stripping that away.
Yes,
and they're stripping it away, and they're working towards stripping it away on science that is shady. That's what bothers me.
Same.
I like this. Justly. Who is the author of division?
Oh.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. We can look at, right side versus left side. There are so many angles of how you can look at what's the author of division. That's a deep question, actually. Linda Thornton, everyone is wearing masks now, but no one wears disposable gloves. Yeah, I mean, in reality, like I said, hand washing people, soap kills this virus. The sunlight kills this virus. I'm not turning around and saying not to be careful. I'm not turning around and saying pretend like it's not something that's potentially harmful for you or a loved one. But there is some aspects of where at the incidence of what it is, for every 100 people you see, so when they allow 100 people in Walmart, the possibility of a half of one of those, let's say a child, is sick. And so it's can that lead to something? Hell yeah. Is it good to wipe your cart down? Yeah, if you're concerned. If you don't wipe your cart down, take that free little squirt of alcohol at the end of your thing. I have thieves spray, and I told you, colloidal silver and thieves. I get in my car, I spray my hands, I'll spray my body. If somebody's coughing, walk away. There's some. It's not the same incidents. I don't want to go into it. Let's see. Good morning, Leah. TJ Ping. Any suggestions on what supplements to start taking for arthritis in the feet, hands, and the back? Yes. There's a lot of supplements. Again, let's talk food. The original book, The Arthritis Cure, showed direct relations with food sensitivities and arthritic and inflammatory complaints. And they were directly associating nightshades, potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, okra could be in there. And where people were eliminating wheat and nightshades, and their arthritic complaints would go away. Well, if you're type O or type A blood, which is more than about probably 90% of our population, blood type diet says nightshades are reactive in type A and type O. I find a lot of type O's react to potato, whereas the type A's react to all the others, and sometimes not potato. But type O's are typically potato, eggplant, and peppers, whereas type A are usually tomatoes, eggplant, and pepper. People, they trigger inflammatory responses. I've seen it across the board. So start with a diet of reducing stress. That's the key. Look at that 5-phase health mentality that we've done. Go to 5 phases. I've taught about it. It's on my website at Pittsburgh Alternative Health. If you go to docmisak.com, you can link to Pittsburgh Alternative Health. I'm going to be bringing more out because it keeps coming back to this aspect of 5 phases. Phase 1, clean up your environment. Lower the load on your body, pure air, pure food, pure water, EMF protection. There are people complaining of achiness, joint pain, fibromyalgia just because of Wi-Fi, EMF sensitivity. It's real. It's not in all of it. The majority of the population don't, but there are people who are showing, and that research, again, is suggesting evidence where this Wi-Fi prevents seeds from being able to spawn and grow, killing, vegetation. It's showing that Wi-Fi has an increased tendency for people to develop glioblastomas, brain tumors. But yet that information kind of gets sidetracked and say, no, That's not true. There's such a small population, we can't confirm it, and it's quote debunked or negated. Any death, any cancer in association with Wi-Fi and 5G should be questioned before we're all exposed to it automatically. I like the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org. They turn around and show the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of chemicals that are in your food, in your environment, in your pots and pans, in your whatever that we're exposed to, because they're not shown until they show that they cause cancer or until they show that there's a problem, they're allowed to be put out there. It should be the other way around. Prove it safe. Environmental Working Group says prove it safe for children, then put it into market. Makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. If you're going to introduce these things, let's do a case study and show that it's safe before we allow the public to be exposed to it. Whereas a few years ago, like colloidal silver, they tried to introduce a bill to say that colloidal silver has an environmental impact and potentially can disrupt the microbiome with our plants. And we need to do agricultural research. And any company that's making colloidal silver should do an agricultural research on the impact of their product on the environment before they put it on the market. Well, damn, let's do that with the chemical companies.
Oh my gosh. Make Verizon or any of the communications companies research 5G.
Well, I think the research just gets kind of put on the side. So supplements, TJ, number one, start with diet. Two, I've talked about collagen. I have that AminoSculpt collagen. It is just an incredible product. It's a liquid collagen source. You got to, what I do is I have a graduated, graduated means a cup that has a measurable thing on the side. I pour an ounce. I fill it up to 4 ounces with distilled water. I stir it up, walk away, stir it up again, and then I drink it down. It's great. It helps with joints. It helps with skin. Bottom line, you've got collagen breakdown. What I'm going to tell you is that when you start looking at RBTI and you start turning around and remineralizing your body, and while reducing that, taking that 5-phase approach by getting rid of triggers of inflammation, it goes away. It's a restorative process. I've had so many people that come to me for joint issues that their pain goes away. But the problem is the body can only restore to a certain point based upon the amount of destruction that you allow to happen. If you've destroyed your knees to the point that you have bone on bone, you're not going to regrow all that cartilage. There's still going to be an inflammation. You might be able to do some PRP or some prolotherapy and have some injections in there to stimulate your body to make enough lubrication. You can do the glucosamine, the MSM, the hyaluronic acid, the chondroitin, those things that provide your body to make more of that fluid and to lubricate the joint and give a little bit of cushioning in there. But your body can, if you've had a destructive process, your body can get to a functional standpoint. But in some cases, you need knee replacement. My mom is there, but she's now not a surgery candidate. She turns 86 at the end of this month. So, and she, at this point, they're not going to do surgery on her because of where she is. So start with diet. AminoSculpt, great product. Glucosamine, MSM, chondroitin, I have that. Great product. You can take those things, but bottom line, you need to reduce the stress, figure out what's triggering the inflammation, remove that, start a program based upon remineralization and what you're taking. Take some Mincol, one with every meal. If you check your numbers and you're looking at the numbers, and those of you who don't listen to me, why is he saying numbers and what are you talking about? Is because we measure the urine, we measure the saliva, we look at the sugars, the pHs, the conductivity, the cell debris, the nitrates. Those nitrates are telling you your ability to rebuild protein and how your body's utilizing amino acids. Those pHs tell me the efficiency of your digestion and whether you're actually taking in your minerals. The conductivity tells me the ability of your body to get that energy where it needs to be and the density of those fluids. If the fluids are too thick and you have like a static electricity, you're going to be breaking down those joints continuously. You got to get rid of the sea salt, the Himalayan salt. You got to control that conductivity. You need oxygen for repair. That means sugar regulation. At some point, I'm just going to start diving back in and going back and teaching RBTI again, people. Right now with everything that's going on, just sitting here and discussing, looking at the reality of where we are is where I'm trying to focus. But let me see what you guys say. All right, let's see here. Abigail, good morning, everyone. Prophet Bear, good morning, Misak family. Thank you. God bless, and he does. I'm going to be contacting you for some equipment, looking to work with you for a future family project. You know what? I've got a lot of family projects going on. I just power washed my house. I need to do some more around the house. We're ripping up some carpet possibly today. Come on in. Put on some masks. I'm kidding. We'll see where we go. Keeping an eye out for an email. Thank you. I will. Thank you very much. Can't wait for that book. I can't either. If you guys have some recommendations on what I'm looking at different publishers right now on who to submit it to. Choice and in layman terms, what's in the vaccines and made by someone that doesn't want to eradicate the population. Again, let's stay away from the politics and what's going on with all that. Yeah, I don't think that we should have a billionaire who knows nothing about science sitting there promoting that everybody should do vaccinations and feel that that's what's needed. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. I think we should go find the science.
But he identifies as a doctor, so we have to believe him, right?
Not true. Yeah, but let's stop it. I mean, I look at Robert F. Kennedy, and look at what Kennedy is putting out there. He's doing, he's not saying don't vaccinate. He's saying, look at the science and look at the money interests that are behind it. What about the genetically modified tissues that are put in the vaccines? There's basically a patent on a genetic profile of tissue that's used in that thing, and it's poor genetics. If we're going to inject people with genetic tissue, let's do the healthiest genetic tissue we can to try to lay the foundation for the body to pick up a program that says, hey, this is perfect genetics.
Amen to that.
Instead of doing genetics that have cancer strains in them. That's bull, people. Mm-hmm. That's just bull. I don't have a problem with science. I have a problem with, putting poor science as guinea pigs towards people. There was a Harvard immunologist that turned around and spoke out public about vaccines and the implication of vaccines. That's about 40 years ago, or at least. Go to Facebook, look up Pittsburgh Alternative Health, scroll back a few years for this solemn-looking female in a white lab coat, and it's a Harvard immunologist talking about the implications of vaccines. Just look at what's her name? That Petty. Dang it, it'll come to me. But it's the one who, the doctor who's turned around and just goes about all of the the inert ingredients that are in vaccines and teaching about what they are. They're not so inert, and what we're injecting people with. It's bad science, people.
It's shameful that we can't ask to expect more and to learn and to grow that opinion and to grow that science. It's just locked. That's what's sad to me.
And there's billions of dollars of interest for a select few people to have an interest in pushing it forward. That's wrong. Why does the FDA not guarantee that a vaccine is safe and effective? Why is it pushed through public health and not tested appropriately? It's bad science, people. Bad science. Thanks, Annie. You're welcome. Whatever that was about by TJ Ping. I'm probably thanking you for helping me. Just started testing my numbers, learning the ropes. Leah, I hope that it is. Once you figure out the basics of the testing, you're going to have to go back to my videos and go back to my old shows, even on Patriot Soapbox. There's a lot of, political information going on in the chat on those old shows, but go watch those old shows on testing for about your sugars, about your salts. Annie, we should just start a whole new thing, back to basics, and just start teaching again.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
I think
start
you need
putting
to
that
do
together
split
with,
and everything again. We need to
and
start
let's
over.
and let's give it a new look, and let's bring the new concepts in, and we'll prepare you guys for something. But in reality, what we want to do with that information, people, is we want to start doing uh, webinars, and we want to have classes so that you can get certified and understanding how to test these numbers, what to do, how to apply these numbers, and lay the foundations. Teach it here on the internet, but in reality, let's turn around and do it to where you're held accountable. You have homework each week, and we do like a 12-week class, and I think that's where we're going to go with this. Intermittent fasting has been a great tool for me, along with the keto diet. Linda, yeah, keto is great, particularly for those who are in the DE range. The problem is they don't always process the fats as well. Sometimes they need some digestive enzymes. You got to make sure you're doing a lemon protocol. You have to make sure that you're watching your bricks, and you definitely need remineralization. Keto will demineralize you, and so you do need to make sure you're on some type of usable minerals by and watch your conductivity, those ratios. But if you do keto is great short term. I find that if you do keto, 2 to 3 months, you will detox considerably. You will lose weight and get your back on track. The numbers will change. When you fall into the BC diet, that's when you will need to kind of modify that keto at some point. If you're trying to lose weight, it will cause you to lose the weight. And but really, a lot of people fall into that DE range with that inefficiency, and keto will help with that. Everything from the sugar regulation. Can digestive aids help someone with a slow digestive system, HCl or enzymes? By Linda Thornton. Yes. There's a lot of people, including Badeau. If you go back and look at Badeau's textbook, he does talk about taking digestive enzymes. If you look at Sue Albright and the whole program that they had, that from they got handed down Manthay's, torch, and they were teaching everything in regards to RBTI. But what, again, they wouldn't work with you unless you turned around and bought their supplements. I don't care if you buy my supplements or not. It helps me. Thank you. But you shouldn't turn around and say, we'll work with you if you buy our supplements. That was another issue I had with another practitioner who recently passed away. I met the guy, and the first thing he was, where do you buy your supplements? Well, buy them from me. I'm like, wait a minute. How are you? My name's Dr. Misak. Tell me more about yourself. But bottom line, digestive enzymes have been used by various people in RBTI. And yes, the whole idea is that when you start doing lemon and using lemon appropriately, is that it is to help your body to make the enzymes that it needs. As you start remineralizing and hone in on the pHs, so as the pHs fall in, then the liver is more effective and the pancreas is more effective at having what it needs to make the enzymes so that you do digest. The idea in restoration is that your body takes over. But in the meantime, can digestive enzymes and betaine hydrochloride help? Heck, yes, no doubt. And so when you see that saliva pH creeping up above 6.6, betaine hydrochloride will help. Pepsin and betaine, you can take it. Digestive enzymes, if your pH is not between 6.4 to 6.6, digestive enzymes will probably help, and so, but I don't want you to get stuck. When you're taking enzymes, you're telling your body not to make enzymes. Think about that. When you take thyroid hormone, you tell your body not to make thyroid hormone. When you're taking any type of hormone, hydrocortisone or steroids, you're telling your adrenal glands and not to make those steroids. Your adrenals and your fat cells, by the way. So I don't have a problem with doing enzymes, and I sell enzymes. I sell betaine hydrochloride by Daily Manufacturing. I sell Digestine by Daily Manufacturing. I carry a high potency enzyme by pure encapsulations. Um, it's not bad stuff, people. Nutrients are here to help, but not to become dependent upon them. Without vaccines, they want fear. Well, we could say whatever they want. I would say greed and money, but I don't know, people. I mean, right now, I would say when you go to the store and everybody's wearing masks, are people living by the basis of fear? Question. Linda, more people should be aware of their immune system now and how to help it to be strong. The MSM is worthless on this subject. MSM being
Completely.
what?
Mainstream media.
Mainstream media. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Why doesn't everybody die of a plague? Different immune levels, different aspects of genetic susceptibility. How do you optimize your genetics? Well, Ream says remineralize. Increase the energy potential of what your body is. Increase your reserve energy. Work into the healing range. Then you can eat whatever the hell you want. But as you start doing that, you start eating things that are stressful to your body, you fall back out of that healing range. And you will notice that. I've been there. I've gone out. I've been there. I go out. I tend to drop into the D range. I tend to go acidic. So I tend to take 2 to 3 Cal-2s a day, a couple Mincol. I usually do 2. Many times I get by with 2 Cal-2s and 1 Mincol a day. There's a product called Ocean Element. Sometimes I can just get by with 2 or 3 of those a day. But it has magnesium in it, and my nitrates tend to crash because I tend to need potassium. And so the Ocean Elements, when my nitrates are crashing, I can't do it. So, I try to test my numbers once a week. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but you can tell. I just can tell when things are off, and then I test. Vaccines, just Leah. Vaccines, as porous as Windows was or is to virus infections, would you trust putting a Bill Gates vaccine in your body? Bill Gates is not a scientist, so therefore, no, I would not. People, I could share something. My T-shirt. I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen the movie Vaxxed. It's all controversy. It's bad science. When Salk and they started and discovered vaccines as an immune approach to stimulate the body, genius. It's definitely. And then look up. I think it was Cooley's serum. It was a cancer approach in the 1950s and 60s, and Cooley basically was using tissues to stimulate the immune system against cancer cell lines. And people using the immune system and how to stimulate the immune system by using sarcodes, homeopathic tissues, or nosodes, homeopathic, viral constituents. That's why I make that homeopathic, influenzinum is what it is. Use the flu vaccine, and I imprint it with a coronavirus vibrational. So I use an imprint where they've found a vibrational frequency in association with coronavirus. It's on electrodermal equipment. You can do homeopathic dilutions using a computer to doing, serial dilutions of that parent frequency that are homeopathic representations of what that would be from a vibrational frequency standpoint. And then you can imprint that. You can project that into water as a carrier. Water is as a universal carrier. Why do you think that, the majority of your body is water? Water carries frequencies. Water will take on the frequencies and you can have water with no. That's why Ream says to drink distilled water, because there's no vibrational imprint on it. It accepts your vibrational imprint. It takes on your frequency. So you take water. I use distilled water, and I imprint a coronavirus imprint for homeopathic on that with the influenzinum and various dilutions, homeopathic dilutions for the flu. I put a little oscillococcinum in there, another homeopathic to stimulate your body for against symptoms in association with feeling the flu. And I've had 3 people report that their spouses, they were convinced that their spouses had coronavirus. They used my no-so, they used silver, and they used an immune booster. In 3 days, the symptoms were gone, except a little trickling cough that lasted for about 10 to 14 days. And I did not provide them a cure. It doesn't happen. I don't treat, cure, prevent, to diagnose anything. I just look at basics of what makes sense, people. At least in my mind, it does. How would your car run with the exhaust put back in the engine? It won't. Just go take a potato to your neighbor that you hate and shove a potato up. If it's his exhaust system, he'll take it and they'll try to figure out. They won't. They'll be like, why? What's wrong with my car? They'll pay hundreds of dollars of diagnostics until somebody goes and looks at there's a potato shoved in the back. Because it has to breathe. Your body has to breathe. Your body has to exhaust. That's why we watch the back end of the equation. That's why we turn around and look at your nitrates and look at your salts and look at your cell debris. You have to pee, poop, sweat. You have to detox more than you accumulate. You can't accumulate junk, and that's a problem. And that's where, Annie's been working on a visual to help people understand that, because you exceed your threshold and you've got symptoms, people. So you got to stay below your threshold of what your body can handle. Ream says the day that you consume more energy than what you get from your food, saying food is our medicine, is the first day of disease. Now I'm going to turn around and say, yep, but in 1970s, there was a heck of a lot less chemical pollution on our foods. And so Reams wasn't as worried about pesticides at the time, but he didn't have genetic modifications. He didn't have where we're producing strains of gene sequencing that you're using as your building blocks for your cells. We are human experimentations with what the food supply that we're getting, people. Majority of people, they're now suggesting that glyphosate is ubiquitous, that every single one of you, that if you go and do a glyphosate test, which you can for about $100, you could test your body levels for glyphosate, which is Roundup. And I guarantee you that anybody who does it is going to test positive to have some levels of glyphosate in you. You can't get away from it.
It's in our drinking water everywhere.
Yeah. California has regulations for how much is allowed to be in water runoff coming off of farms. Scary.
Oh my gosh.
Bill Gates and eugenics depopulation. Just wow, let's talk about Agenda 21. Let's talk about the Rockefeller Foundation. Let's go into eugenics and population control. And it's been around for a long time in proposals, people. And then you're going to have everyone say that we are, right-sided conservative conspiracy theorists. You know what? I'm not going to say don't protect yourself, and I'm not going to say don't be aware. Look at my 5 phases. Phase 1, environmental protection, spiritual well-being, mental, emotional well-being, physical well-being, environmental protection, well-being, microbial well-being. Why? You got 10 microbes for every cell in your body. You're a bag of bugs, people. Think about it. And so those bugs have to be in a balance. And now we're looking at the microbiome, and it only exists between here and our butts in the gastrointestinal tract. What do you think's on your skin right now? Oh, I just licked up about 1 million of them. There goes 2 million. Seriously, you're covered with microbes. Stop laughing, Annie.
I can't help it.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Misak. Good morning, Carolyn. How are you doing? Did you like that art? Hey, Carolyn just got my new handout. Carolyn, give us the lowdown. Overwhelm or good information? So Carolyn, I'm going to say, has me in age. And so I want to know if it's too difficult to understand, because I've got all this science crap in my brain and I'm trying to make something complex more simple. and Annie's trying to do that. So Carolyn, I want you to comment, a feedback, and you could say, Doc, haven't even looked at it, which is fine. Or you could say, oh my God, this is great. Or you could say, this is the worst material I've ever seen. I don't care. Criticize the dickens out of it for me, but just tell me truth. What do you think about that information I just sent you on how to look at those diets, which we were not presenting at the time when you came to the retreat? And this is where the retreats are going. So good morning, Carolyn. How can you use an ionic foot bath? How often can you use it, Red Label? You can do it daily, but you don't need to. The problem is an ionic foot bath starts a detoxification on a cellular level in your body. You absorb active ions and you attract out things through your pores into that field. And so it's changing the load and you're stimulating a cellular change because of those active ions that you're absorbing into your body that you're exchanging. So you're actually going to see a detox response happen over about a 48-hour period. So I'll have people, maybe every other or 3 times a week or something like that, if you really want to get aggressive with it. I did a show, if you guys don't know, I did a show that was called product. What do we call those? Product awareness or product. How do we term those, Annie?
Product review, product spotlight.
Product spotlight, and it was Alum Talks, ionic foot baths, and I did it with Paula, and she basically, I think it's Childress, but she basically, we talked about the Alum Talks. The lighting was really poor, and she called me yesterday, and she's ready to record another one. So with just a better presentation of her product, instead of having a fish tank behind her, she wants to have something that just shows a better representation of what it is. But it's a great deep foot ionic foot bath. People, if you go and watch that, what I've done with Paula is I've given majority of my commissions on her selling those things to you. So she sells them for $12.99. I'm giving you $300 of my commission. So if you mention that Dr. Misak sent you, you get to buy those foot baths for $1,000. And those are great, and it's great. You have to detox, people. And ionic foot baths is a great way to do it for heavy metal detox, to stimulate a cellular response. Watch that video. We're going to re-record that. And just kind of, she's going to wants to have a little bit more of a professional presentation with her product. So just kind of watch out for that. Jackie, yes, would love if you teach RBTI again here. Yeah, I agree. I mean, RBTI is a basis of where we want to go and go back to teaching those numbers. I do want to do that. I can't just turn around and give you guys everything. I will let you know that that if you go to docmisak.com, you guys can go there and see the basis for the coalition. It says that you can join, but you can't. We don't have the financial aspect of where you can join through that website yet completed, to where we're going to be able to accept payment to get you signed up on the coalition, and then start making stuff like these handouts available to you and everybody. And it's going to be $15 a year for people to join. So just keep that in mind, because we got to keep the information private. That's the whole idea. So Carolyn, since you got that handout, and I don't know if you've commented yet, I haven't got down that far, but that is a proprietary information. So those of you that I'm sending this information, don't go out on the RBTI chats and give it to everybody. Just please don't do that. Let's see, because if I find stuff like that start to happening, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder for you to get it out of me on this show. I'll be honest, because I'll just go off of that. Red Label, can't wait for the book. Jackie, where was I? Good morning. I lost my place.
Salt sugar ratio, please explain. That was the next.
Salt sugar ratio, SB. Okay, so look at the perfect equation. 1.5 bricks, 6.4 over 6.4 urine pH over saliva pH, 6.5 C or conductivity salt value, 0.04 M, 40,000 particles or 0.04 million particles in the urine, 3/3 nitrates over ammonia nitrate. Everything about that equation is regarding ratios. When you're looking at energy efficiency, Jackie, I'm teaching RBTI right now, by the way. Haha. When you're looking at that equation, look at the perfect equation, because one of the rules is that if you move your numbers towards perfect, you're gonna see an increase in energy. That equation is perfect energy efficiency. So if you do 1.5 sugar to 6.5 salt or conductivity, that is a 1 to 4.3 ratio. Okay. So when you're measuring your conductivity and your bricks, you want it to be roughly a 1 to 5 ratio, or anywhere from 1 to 4.3 to 1 to 5 ratio. If you are dropping under that, if you have a bricks of 2.5 and you have a conductivity of 9, and you're at just over 1 to 3 ratio and less than a 1 to 4, then something's wrong. You're not pulling in the minerals that you should be pulling in. So you got to go look at your saliva pH. Oh, my saliva pH is 6.6 or 6.8 because my liver's too congested and I'm not able to assimilate those minerals. And that's why I have a low sugar to salt ratio. And that's why I'll see issues with coordination and thinking. Okay. So if your ratio is 1 to 10, if I have a sugar of 2.5 and my salt's 25, stop eating sea salt. That's what you're going to see. But that high conductivity is going to turn around and cause static electricity in your body, and like zzz, and you're going to break down nerves and smooth muscle. You're going to cough and sneeze and lose urine. You're going to have numbness and tingling. You're going to have high cholesterol. You're to kind of work like a buffering sensation because your blood's getting thick, and to thin out the blood so that you can get your blood where it needs to go. So that sugar to salt ratio should not go over 1 to 5 when you're measuring those values. And Carolyn feeds back and says, great information. Thank you, Carol. But you put a bunch of question marks around it. Does that mean it's a questionably great? Thank you. Let's see here. Where are we? Oh my God. Lots of them today. Suzanne Humphreys, MD. It wasn't Suzanne in regards to the vaccines. It's called viral therapy, I believe. Dr. Shiva. Dr. Shiva is great information, by the way.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he is.
Yeah. Will your book address how to combine supplements? No, it will not. My book is a aspect of looking at the concepts and helping you to see the big picture. And then the workbook that we're going to put out is going to be the concepts of how to eat. People who go through the programs that we're going to do on webinars, we will have first to teach you how to look at the numbers, test, and eat. Second, how to look at the numbers and test you what to take. That's a whole new bit of information. Okay, SB, Dr. Judy, Dr. Shiva. Yes, Red Label is called viral therapy, I believe, would be a good vaccine practice. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of aspects of, low dose. You introduce low doses, even homeopathic doses of compounds in the body stimulate immune responses. It's been shown that you can give the body low doses of immune globulins that are almost to the point of only being measured energetically and stimulate an immune response. And so that's the whole concept of vaccines. There's been low dose chemotherapy where they've, instead of giving these bags of chemo, they've given little intradermal doses of chemo that stimulate that same response. And then there was a company that was bringing and introducing it out of South America, and then they were bought out by one of the big ones, either Merck Sharp or GlaxoSmithKline, And what happened? That therapy just disappeared. They own the rights. Why would I bring in a micro dose of something that costs $5 versus giving you a chemo bag that costs $10,000? I don't know. Red Label Basics would love that. We'll get back to that. Your teachings always produce new nuggets. Thank you. Lemon protocol. Yeah, you got to go back. Lemons, you always mix 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon to 9 ounces of distilled water. That's the ratio that Reams determined that creates the right concentration of lemon for pH balance and stimulation to the body. So 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon to 9 ounces of distilled water. Some people should do about 36 ounces a day and drink it all day long, drinking 3-4 ounces every hour. Don't just take on and do that. That's what Reams would do with a lot of people. Don't start a lemon protocol unless you continue to follow it through for 7 to 9 months and watch your numbers through the process. I do that 1 to 9 ounces, having 10 ounces a day, people, and drinking a third of that after your meals. Let that lemon disperse. Let it stimulate your digestive process. Let it help you to break your food down. How to encourage sluggish functions versus dependency. Lemon. It's exactly how you encourage it. Do what I just told you. Drink 3 ounces of lemon water after every meal. Stimulate your body on a low to encourage it. Encourage your body. Give it a push. Give it a nudge. Take the stress off. Eat clean. Take the burdens off and encourage. Don't eat crap and expect the lemon to fix it. Then you're going to swallow all those enzymes in that betaine hydrochloride and whatever else. What's the difference between digestine and probiotics? Huge. Probiotics is putting good bugs back in. Digestine is enzymes with betaine hydrochloride to replace your body because it's not making it enough to stimulate your body to kind of restore that. Val Davis. Good morning. Hey, Val. How are you? My mom provided me with an article that says hydrogen peroxide could treat coronavirus if used in a nebulizer. What's your opinion on nebulizing peroxide? I am not going to legally go into that type of thing here because there is aspects of where you can use oxygen-based therapies like peroxide, and it's got to be diluted appropriately. And that is something that you're turning around and putting peroxides into the lung. And I'm not going to go there on this show. But I will say that I've tried it. Been a long time, and I have a nebulizer in the other room, and I've done colloidal silver nebulized. And you have to dilute this stuff, and it has to be in saline. The problem with the lungs is the lungs are very sensitive tissue. And so when you're looking at that, according to Reams, they require more minerals, trace minerals, than any other tissue. And so he used allspice and things like that. And allspice was just a blend of all these various herbs and new herbs to get various mineral sources. And he used an allspice blend to provide for lung conditions. He also would have people with lung conditions have yellow mustard, Heinz's yellow mustard, every day, for lung conditions. And it was probably because of the turmeric and, again, the mineral compositions that were in there to help with the lungs. And so you can nebulize those type of things, but we're walking down the pathway on that hierarchy of therapeutics of let me do pure air, pure food, pure water to drugs and surgery. And in between, we use herbs and then drugs and things like that. And, even nebulized glutathione can be beneficial, but it can irritate the lungs. You have to watch the tonicity, the amount of concentration that's in there. So it has to be mixed with saline or, to make sure that you're having the right amount of minerals or concentration in there to not irritate and break down the lungs. So great thought. I wouldn't just have people do it unless we go from a protocol on that. And I'm not going to give that protocol and put that on the line of what to do. Proper Bear Aisle. Great. I love it. Do something. Be proactive. Doing all types of things. Anytime we say I will, great. We all should. Take your first steps, people. I will. What are you going to do? Do it. Annie's laughing at me today. Thank you, Annie.
Laughing with you, you know?
Let's see, SB trying to lock us in all into $1,000 annual times 8 billion people. Yeah, I don't want to go there. Marty D, blue thumbs up, folks. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Put that thumbs up. If we have 38 people on, please have 38 thumbs up. It really does help with the numbers and how we do it. Glyphosate in Guinness beer. No! Is glyphosate really in Guinness beer? I thought Guinness was hops and didn't have the wheat. Please don't tell me. Guinness is my fallback, people. You're killing me. Oh, my. I don't want to know that type of stuff. Linda, scientists in France, Italy, and Germany have proven that water has memory. Yes, it does. That's why you erase it. And that's why you can look at the fourth phase of water. And that's why I talk about a product called Wata that is energetically carrying. There's a lot of things about water. They can reproduce whatever the water was exposed to previously and prove it in a lab. Yes. And Emoto is showing the life of water in crystalline structures carrying energy. Water, that's a whole other subject. Don't seem to be taught anymore for a while. The basics don't seem to be taught. Oh, my God, basics. SB, you guys are just wanting me to go back to teaching basics. So there's a handful of RBTIers out there that want information versus we're going to talk about that. Great information, Jackie. How do we get the new handout? Good question.
Well, it's almost done. Don't go giving it out yet.
Thank you.
We've got we're almost done.
Afternoon, Red Label. Scott Rimai has a laundry water system that has the ability to give water for cleaning. Yes, maybe clean bacteria off of vegetables. People, you can use, if you have a water ionizer, okay, so what does it do? Electrolysis to split the hydrogen ions and the OH ions. So when you use alkaline water, what happens is you have a drain off of the extra hydrogen water, and you have the increased OH, the hydroxyls, what they encourage people to drink in alkaline water. I have a system at home on my kitchen sink. I flip it over when I'm washing my vegetables, when I'm washing my meats, and instead of being alkaline water, I make it acid water, and that's what I wash my fruits and vegetables with. So yes, you can use water to do these things. In the meantime, can I have an email for a handout? Guys, you're going to have everybody asking me to hand that out. We're going to make it available. Give me time. Carolyn, no on question marks. When I started listening to Patriot Soapbox to get the attention of the speaker, one would use question marks to highlight the comment. Yep, that's true. Okay, thank you. So Carolyn's saying that the handout is a big thumbs up. I appreciate it. Going to buy some lemons after this. You should have lemons in your life every day, people. Reem says that every day you don't do lemons sets you back about 4 days if you're trying to increase your energy reserves. And 1 to 9, 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon, 9 ounces of distilled water. Yes. Correction. Lots of lemons. Jackie, I'm almost to the end. Betty Reeves recently renounced group at an RBTI class. That is Betty teaching food basics. That is stuff that will be in the handouts. That is stuff that when you order testing kits from me and I send you the handout, I do send you Betty's food basics handouts on looking at certain foods that have vitamin A and vitamin C and some things like that. Betty gives some basics on that. But it's not attributed to the BC versus the DE in all cases. And I'm trying to be consistent with the information I provide. So I haven't gotten to pulling in Betty's information and bringing mineral specifics into it. We're getting there, people. It's a lot of information. I can just pass it on to Annie and keep her busy for a while. What do you say, Annie?
I have enough. No. Yeah, bring it on. I don't care. Bring it on. We'll figure it out.
All
I'm up
right,
for the challenge.
Zoltan. Friend home from surgery for urinary infection, been on antibiotics for a while. That stomach's messed up, uncomfortable eating anything, needs to eat. Any thoughts? Yeah, you better get some probiotics in there. You probably have overgrowth of yeast and bacteria going on in there, or probably yeast. You can get viral loads after antibiotics based upon susceptibility. You got to do a high potency probiotic. I would probably, in reality, give about 400 billion live cell bacteria for 4 days. So we sell the one that has 100 billion per quarter teaspoon. I would do a quarter teaspoon 4 times a day for 3 days, and then go to a quarter teaspoon a day for about 2 weeks, and then go to an eighth of a teaspoon after that. So do 400 billion for 3 days, 100 billion for a couple weeks, and then go to 50 billion thereafter. You could check out, if you email my office, we can ship those type of things out. Earth Garden Living. Guinness is the only beer without glyphosate. Woohoo! Thank you. I love to hear that. There, fall back. I know there's other crap in it, people. I have found it. If I go back, I have had, at one point I would go to the grocery stores, and I was like, what can I really eat? If you start thinking about environmental toxicity, purity of food, demineralization of food, preservatives in food, and you start going to a straight purist attitude and say, okay, I can't eat anything unless I grow it. I went through literally back in 2000s, early 2000s, 2000 when I really started teaching this stuff, 2003 to 2005 or so. I was just like, what do I want to buy? What do I want to eat? This is scary. I can't, and I would go through just trying to cook and chop up everything. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is too much work for me and for my family and everything. It's just non-realistic, And then I had the realization, I had an epiphany one day and said, guess what? Your mom fed you Spam and bologna sandwiches, and you lived off of canned foods and Lipton, rip it open, put it in boiling water with butter and mix it until it's thick, crap. I was, TV dinners. I was raised, people, on literally, on processed food. That's a massive amount of sodium. I had the processed food body too, as a child growing up. And, you get that visceral fat, you got the little belly going on, and just always never fully got that 6-pack until kind of later in life, where I started working out and realizing how to eat and break this fat down. And then you lose it. But, the bottom line is I was raised on crap, and here I am. I can produce good numbers. I can realize where my numbers are. And I realize that those numbers tell me when I overstep my bounds. So can I cheat? Do I cheat? Hell yeah. Often, not as often as my mind says that I'd like to. But your body is an incredible, nuclear generator, and it's efficient. And so when you look at that efficiency and you get in the BC range and you're running between 50 to 95% efficient, you'll feel decent. You'll feel good. You could still cheat on things and feel okay, but not always feel good. Sticking and staying in the A range, if you have some chronic illness and cancer, yeah, you got to be a little bit more strict, and you want to stay in that range because you've had years of breakdown, and it's going to take you a couple of years to restore. By the way, heads up, I just got to take, so I'm done with the chat today because we're getting near the end. I am going to go back and I'm going to share a text message that I just got from my buddy Larry. And you guys, I've mentioned Larry a couple times. Stage 4 esophageal cancer, always coming down with worse crap, all these things. Started working with me about 2 years ago. 2 years, people. Wow. Esophageal cancer, stage 4, and we're 2 years later. Check the statistics. Larry is one of less than 3% of the world population that has lived 5 years after diagnosis. Interesting. And he says, hey, I wanted to let you know I had a scan last week. It came out great. The tumor markers are down. I think your help made this possible. I've been doing everything but the sauna because places are closed where he was doing sauna and everything's shut down. And basically, he is saying that everything has continually gotten better. Praise God. Larry, love you to death. If you're watching my shows, I think we should have Larry on sometime. I mentioned that. He did not comment. I said, hey, we should have you on my show, and let's make you a poster child for RBTI. It's not just RBTI, people. RBTI is a system of measurement. And if you don't understand what that measurement is telling you, and you just think that doing the same thing with a set of bad numbers is going to change, that's bad science, people. RBTI gives you a foundation of measurement. And if the numbers aren't changing, it doesn't mean take more of a certain calcium. It means that something, it's trying to tell you something, and you have to look outside the box. That's why I had shows with Dr. Krista and talking about mold. You know, I've been thinking about other people that I should bring online, and let's talk about some subjects. I know you want me to go back to basics. I know you want me just to feed you the free information on how to learn how to do this on your own, you know, and that's where, you know, I want to get people in onto retreats, and I want to get people in on webinars, and I want to do it in the right teaching format. I've given you guys so much information. If you go back and watch these shows, I have taught it over and over. And there's bits and pearls of information that are consistently provided throughout these things. But you got to realize we're living in this crazy world right now. And you know, we got to stay current with where people are. And I want to meet you there. Annie, you have not been talking today because I really haven't given you the chance. Let's let Annie, you have any closing words today?
Oh, heavens, why do you do this? No, I don't have closing words. No, we covered the vaccine argument. That's what I really wanted to talk about. I'm a little fired up. Facebook's got me hot. I'm trying to stay quiet. You know, but no, I don't have, no, I'm good.
You want to share with people some of the things that you're working on with the book right now?
Not physically show them, but yeah, well, we're working on, you know, how to show the remineralization, what it actually is going to do for your body. And it's, you know, showing the little stop points. So whenever you come in to see doc, usually you're wrecked and have all these symptoms and it's terrible. And whenever you can implement what he's trying to teach you, you can show those things fall off and help you get yourself into that healing range. We're trying to show that off with a few different visuals, because that's really you know, the big basis of what you're teaching here is get to that healing range so that you can thrive. And so that's what we're working on.
Amen to that. I think that's the first thing that we can share on the on a future show is bringing that visual to people.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, another week on it will be completed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and you know what? I went back and watched one of our original basic shows, and the sound quality was not good, and we'll go back, people. We're going to go back and we're going to bring this information back and keep all the, you know, but you got to keep going back to basics. You got to understand the basics in order to move forward. I could turn around and talk about a particular subject or a particular product, and if you don't understand why we're doing it and what those numbers are trying to show us, there's understanding leads the foundation for wisdom, you know, and wisdom is experiential. So if I'm throwing out knowledge, it's coming out at you, you know, and you grabbing it and understanding it. Okay, that's step one. But you experiencing it and seeing action, that's wisdom. More precious than gold. Wisdom was there at the creation of all things with God and Christ. So people, I hope to share what I've learned, and I hope that it edifies. So till next week, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that it's been well received, and people just stay well And until then, God bless you all.
Okay, sorry, I was typing.